All right, so now let's think about our exothermic and endothermic reactions, okay? So let's get our exact definition here. Our definition for an exothermic reaction would be a physical or chemical change in which the system releases energy to the surroundings. Okay? So a physical or chemical change in which the system releases energy to the surroundings. You guys should probably, right, we got a little bit more space here, we should put this definition into our own words, okay? But really, right, what we want to illustrate is that the energy is getting released from our system. So our characteristics here, right, we've got some system in here, and it's going to be releasing energy to the surroundings. So we would often say, right, that it heats up. Okay, right? We have some better definitions about heat, right? But in kind of colloquial terms, we would say, hey, this is heating up, okay? So some examples, right? We could think of combustion reactions. Okay, combustion reactions, they release energy and we actually capture that energy, all right? We could think about adding vinegar and baking soda, right? Vinegar and baking soda, right? We think about in our fake volcanoes, right? We add those two and it bubbles up and it actually releases some steam. Well, that releases some steam because it's releasing energy, right? And so our water heats up so much that it becomes steam. Okay, so it's releasing energy from the system, releasing that energy, and it heats up the surroundings. Okay, we could also think about our food, right? We have shown that we can burn our food in a combustion reaction in our Cheeto lab, but our body actually does that as well. Okay, so food breaking down is a exothermic reaction. Okay, so what would be some non-examples? Some things that rather than being exothermic, they might be endothermic. Well, something like baking, right? We oftentimes, right, you turn on the oven. You think about baking. Well, that is actually going to be putting energy into the system generally, okay? The surroundings would be our oven and the whatever we're baking would be our system. So baking wouldn't really be a very good example of an exothermic reaction at all, okay? We would also think about melting ice, right? This is a non-example as well because we're actually, to melt the ice, we have to put energy into that system, okay? So let's think about our endothermic reactions, okay? So endothermic reactions, again, let's get an exact definition, right? This would be a physical or chemical change in which the system absorbs energy from the surrounding. Okay, so the system is absorbing energy from the surroundings. Again, you guys have a little bit of space there. Put this definition into your own words, okay? But really, again, what we're thinking about is that we've got some system here, and for that system to do that change, whatever physical or chemical change, for that to occur, it's got to absorb some energy, right? So if we think about it, oftentimes, right, we would think about the surroundings as cooling down. So it cools down, okay? So An example of this, right, would be an ice pack, right? If we do a chemical ice pack, right, it absorbs energy from the surroundings, and then we can put it on our wherever it hurts, and it cools that down, right? We could also think about something like photosynthesis. Photosynthesis needs energy to occur, right? It absorbs that sunlight energy, okay? So photosynthesis would be an endothermic reaction where it absorbs that energy, okay? We could think about dry ice, right? Dry ice absorbs that energy and goes from a solid to a gas. We could think about baking, okay? Again, baking, right? Whatever we're baking, if we're baking a loaf of bread, we got to put energy into the system. That's why we heat it up, okay? So we turn on our oven, we heat it up, and we get those chemical changes that we want to occur, right? It gives us enough energy to get those changes to occur, okay? So some non-examples, again, these would be all of our exothermic examples up above, but some other non-examples. If photosynthesis absorbs energy, respiration, which is kind of the opposite, is going to release energy. So it is not an endothermic process, okay? So this would be a non-example, right? So we should be able to come up with some other ones as well, okay? All right.